right, it's now time for raising funds for world domination, day number 174. So today's update, I guess the major update on the renoviction situation from yesterday was yesterday I got the response back from the tenant board in relation to the hearing we had on October 6th, and the conclusion is that they have dismissed the remaining 13 eviction applications for the apartment building. There was like 17 in this batch, and then a bunch were dismissed previously. And the LTB sent me a confirmation email confirming that the case is closed. So that's one problem resolved. Now the next problem is getting some revenue. Or getting revenue up. So for the last little while, my recent project has been trying to get the Shopify Store up and running. So I have a couple of products in there. It's been quite a learning curve, actually. I thought that Shopify would be a bit easier to use out of the box. So I have some physical products, and one of the other things I'm doing is I want to start selling dedicated block types through there. And one critical feature of that is I've been looking for a way to make it possible so that people can buy like a sponsored block type. But to do that, people need to actually put in what kind of like dedication name, like what kind of moniker or nickname or whatever they want to appear. So having some way to capture that information is important, because otherwise I just go back and forth with people on email, and it's not the best. So I thought I had figured out a way to do that, and then actually the magnetite sold last night, and but it did not capture. So I had a feature that was supposed to capture the name, but it didn't capture it. And today, one of the things I did is I spent more time to try and look into why that happened. And the conclusion was that the default theme with Shopify, I guess, has all these themes you can install. And with the default theme, the approach that I used, it just didn't pick up the name. So I changed today I changed it to some other free Shopify theme, and at least tested the order page, and I think it will work today. I think maybe I spelled that wrong. I think I did another one. Actually, in doing this, I'm actually learning a lot about the different types of iron ore. I didn't know that many before this, but since I made the game is about mining blocks of iron ore, so I figured I might as well cycle through all the types of iron ore. So this one, we're going to double the price, $16. If you want to sponsor, I might have spelled that wrong, but anyway, if you want that, you can check out the store. And you'll be the guinea pig to you'll be the guinea pig to test out the new theme and the feature that should actually allow you to specify the dedication name at the time of purchase. And actually, another good thing about that is I had been also thinking might be a worthwhile experiment to see if I could have a thing in my store, because I have the printer and have all the equipment for it. I could do custom prints if people want, and if that's another thing. I mean, it's not really related to software development, but if people will, if I can make sales doing that, and I could probably do it pretty cheap too, because I have all the. I can do my own print on demand fulfillment. Orthoplex 64, how's it going? Pikachu says hello. I'm also doing my coding homework. It's HTML and CSS. Excellent. How's your day going? Pretty good. It was another, I guess, productive day. I tried to work on the marketing video, but I once again accomplished absolutely nothing on this because I just had a bunch of small like errands and stuff that took like 1 hour here and 1 hour there, and before you know it, the whole day's gone, and then I have to live stream. Dookie Out Bias says, yo, Limonite. Don't see a new theme on the Shopify store. So it is a new theme. I tried to like make it look basically the same, but the underlying engine that's driving it is different. You might notice that I think the text size, the menu, I don't quite like it. The font size is smaller. But I think I haven't looked through all the pages, but I think I'm not quite sure what effects changing the theme has, but hopefully it should not have any new bugs that I haven't discovered yet. But the key thing is if you go to like that one new block type, if you like type in the dedication name, that's like there's a box there to type to say like what you want your nickname to be or whatever, and then if you press add to cart and you go to the cart, it should actually show you in the cart preview. It should remember what you typed in, and I remember before it wasn't remembering that, and I thought like, maybe they just have to go through the checkout and then it'll still be there, but in practice it wasn't. But the fact that it remembers it in the cart makes me a bit more confident that it'll go through. I could have just tested it out with a test purchase, but I decided not to bother. Shows the dedication. Yeah, hopefully that's just one more critical thing for making this thing sustainable. Because if I have to email everyone and ask them, because I guess one of the annoying things is if someone buys a dedicated block type and then I say like, hey, what do you want your sponsored name to be? And then if they don't respond to me, or they respond like a month later, now I have to go back and like look at what they ordered, and it's better to just do it all at once. Whipping Kids for Science says yogurt. Yogurt is a pretty important part of a balanced diet. Okay, so that's it for the daily update. And I guess last night I also attended the. I almost forgot about it. Actually, my regular meetup at the University of Waterloo. Water fountain in front of the math building video. For those of you who have seen that video, I decided to just show up. I could have actually like advertised it ahead of time, but I was curious to see like if I just didn't say anything, would anyone who's seen it and like since it was released, would anyone actually remember? And there were 2 people that showed up. So maybe that could become an actual thing. So tonight we'll continue with work on the terminal block mining game. Success indeed. Yeah, I randomly checked the U Waterloo subreddit, and I always see people there who are are saying like, hey guys, I've been here for so long and I haven't made any friends. And there's like a whole bunch of people posting that how hard it is to make friends. So I thought, like, what doesn't someone just make some arbitrary event, and then all these people who are posting on Reddit, and it's hard to make friends, then they could all go there and be each other's friend. And now they can do that at 7 p.m. on the Tuesday of every reading week. All right, so there were 2 sponsored block types that I had to add, and I have added those to the game along with their dedications. So we got Gilthite or Gothite and Magnetite. Yeah, this one's got a crazy formula. It turns out to be quite a bit of work to look up all these. Oh yeah, squishy. Yeah, it's actually it requires a bit of research to kind of figure out the cast numbers. I'm not really a chemical engineering guy, but for what is it? Malachite. There's a couple things that are called malachite that have different cast numbers, but I think this is like the closest one to actually real malachite. I think like malachite that you actually find has a lot of impurities in it. And some things actually have a couple different cast numbers. Where was it? I think I had like actually these two. So Fe2O3. Those are the same thing, but like one, I guess. This cast number is usually used for the like mineral, and then this one is usually used for like the chemically synthetic variant, even though they're the same thing. Now I think I stopped last night where this crashed. Yep. All right, let's fix that. So this one has -1. Before scroll bar is -1. So if minus first column index is 0, that implies this must be -1. First visible column index, if that's -1, well, this might be one for the debugger. Go our devs says, hey Robert, opinion on chess. Is it overrated? I think people spend so much time playing it. But how is it not seen as time wasted, unlike video games? Chess is something that I've never really gotten into that world. I played it like once as a kid, and I thought, this is kind of interesting. And for maybe like 2 days, I thought like, maybe this is something I should try, put a lot of work into, try to become good at. But eventually, I decided there's too many things. I'm kind of an all or nothing person. I would either want to dedicate an enormous amount of time into it and become good at it, but or just not do it at all. And I chose to not become good at all. I don't only know the basic rules. I guess as for whether it's a good thing for people to be spending time on, I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff where it's probably better that people fixate on something. Well, there's certainly a lot worse things to fixate on and waste a lot of time on. It is kind of weird though, how like there's a decent number of people that kind of make it their entire life, and do it competitively. That requires just so much time. All right, we're going to wait for that to open. ARDev1 says, hey there, how are y'all? I'm pretty good, how are you? Almost done with my platformer, C++. Nice. Currently making devlogs in a horror game in Godot. Also working with Godot on Godot itself. Interesting. I never used. Well, I would say I've never actually done any real game development or on any kind of frameworks or anything before. I know of Godot is it's like the open source, one of the most popular open source alternatives. Let me see. Oh yes, render. That's not right. It's not supposed to be that big. That's also interesting. It's breakpointing on if it's negative, but that's a big positive number, not negative. I had been compiling Godot for modernizing something, and Windows updated itself. Yeah, Windows. I haven't used Windows in a while now. Game Dev Chad says, just I'll begin. Say hi, Robert. How's it going? All right, let's figure out why the math's bad on this. Okay, that's a problem. Have a good night. Oh, I forgot to look at that. Division by 0. That's not good. Do you like card games? Poker or Magic? Poker, I've never played poker. I played one poker game, and it was very mentally taxing because I was just learning the rules, and then I never played again. Magic the Gathering. I actually have some Magic cards. I don't really know anything about the game. Never played it before. I think if I learned about it when I was a teenager, I might have gotten into it, but it's not something I've never had friends who are interested in it. So I think that's usually how most people get hooked on things. So I can do a +1 on this. That should resolve the division by 0. I think you need market research. Great reason to hop back into gaming. I could. I think this game already has a pretty tight game loop. I just need the features. The features in the systems. All right, let's see if that crashes still. Oh, it still crashes. Now it's in the second one. Still don't work. Oh, I forgot to put a good breakpoint in. That's weird. A weird bug. That's a bug in my rendering system. Seems to happen on when it's on a slower computer. It's not remembering what's been output. Wait, minus 36. 72 minus 108. Okay. Okay, that's why. Alright, I guess this is just a like an annoying edge case when the list is very small and it's like it's not able to render it. That should not be 1, it should be 0. I guess maybe this is what happens when it's too small to fit even one list item. Okay, I think that's a source of the problem. So this quantity should never go below 0. But when there's not enough area to display even one item, then this becomes 0. What is that IDE? This is IntelliJ. I only started using it this year. It's, I guess, the latest and greatest for Java development. I pretty much only use it for debugging. I mostly just code in Vim. Oh, it's still a crash. It's not crashing. It looks weird though. It must be changing orientation there. Hack Matrix says, "Hello, Robert. How's it going?" Going well. Moving into my new house on Friday. Excellent. Having a house is awesome. Because you can live in a house. Which is something that a lot of people can't do. Let's see. Well, there's another bug. Any new revenue over the last few days? I made one sale of a new block type. Someone purchased, what was it, magnetite? And I fixed, I figured it away. I think I've got it working now in Shopify. So you can actually add a custom dedication, like through at the purchase time. I mean, it's a small accomplishment, but the process of building up a business and a whole ecosystem is just so many millions of like little things, so many small wars you have to fighting with Shopify, fighting with Google Merchant Center, trying to get the stupid links re-enabled, and but I guess part of this is also just been an experiment to see, like, will anyone even buy any of these at all? Like, is this actually because if I had set that store up and then I literally got 0 sales from it, then that would be an indication that it's not worth wasting any more time like trying to make the store look better or add more products. But since I think I've made like 10 distinct sales from like different random people in the past month, even though they're like only a couple of bucks, I'll probably just continue working on that and keep talking about it. It seems like the conversion rate for this store is better than the previous one I had. And if I can get those links re-enabled, then that should lead to more conversions. Musvik. Hello, brother. Remember me? From stream chat, I don't know. There's a lot of people that come into stream chat. There's thousands. So many bugs tonight. Yeah, I guess I didn't really, I didn't robustly test the bounds calculation. There's a whole bunch of edge cases that where something's not, where the width of something goes to 0 and stuff I never tested. Thought about clearing the screen. Clearing the screen on shutdown of the game. Well, your console overwrites the game would drive me crazy. Yeah, I actually could do that. I guess I just haven't ever. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I don't know. Maybe I'll edit at some point. There's an ANSI escape code for doing that. It's called the alternate screen buffer. Congratulations. It came once? How long ago? There's there's a bunch of people that have conversations in chat. I remember some of them, but it's like there's been so many conversations and so many, it's like 2 hours a night for like 174 nights. You have a lot of conversations. 2 days? Oh, okay. I remember if I have more in-depth conversations sometimes. Remember to use LSPs, linters, and formatters. In terms of linters, I would say, I guess the POM file, like the Java compiler, the warning flags, or I think it's let me check. Yeah, xlint all. So I guess you could call that the linter, and then w error. So that's the equivalent of my linting. Formatters, I don't use any language servers. It's been on my to-do list to like learn those, and I've said that a bunch of times, but I just never get there. Consistency is impressive. Yeah, but then again, I mean, there's lots of people out there who, if I was in a regular 9-to-5 job, I'd still have to come in consistently every day. Okay, 287. We've got a negative number for get list item width. Count is negative. Why is that the case? Maybe it's when, maybe it's maybe it's overflowing. I need a suggestion. I learned C, now moving towards data structures and algorithms. Plan is to complete it around 3 to 4 months. Then HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or full stack. Is that a good path? And Hack Matrix says skip HTML, CSS, just learn React. I would say that specific advice is probably not terrible. I mean, it's kind of difficult to skip it because technically you probably still will. If you learn React, you'll be forced to learn some HTML, CSS. I mean, I kind of feel bad for new front-end web developers because there's so much stuff. Honestly, I'm like, even since like the COVID days, I haven't in the last couple of years I haven't kept up with like new frameworks and stuff. I kind of hope it's slowed down a bit because I remember even back in 2014 when I started to decide to get away from front-end web, there was like 4 or 5 different competing front-end web frameworks, and there's new ones coming out all the time. There was Angular, Ember.js, Vue.js, React. You said you learned C. You're moving towards data structures and algorithms. So I would say it's hard to give you a great answer on like because it's really the way to frame these questions is more like what should you waste your time learning, because it's almost like there's just an infinite number of things in CS to learn, and it's very easy to just spend a massive amount of time learning one area and then find that you never use it. And that's fine if you just want to like learn for the sake of learning, but if you want to get money out of it, you want to produce a career, you should be strategic and waste time learning the things that are going to lead you to the next step. So I'd say if you're doing job interviews, like if your goal is to get into the labor force, data structures and algorithms is pretty good, because most higher qualified positions, this is how it used to be, and I'm sure it probably is still. They'll ask you data structures and algorithms problems. I think the main reason for that is just because if you're a noob and you don't understand things like asymptotic complexity, you'll accidentally write programs that are like exponential time, and the programs will work, but they'll be slow, and you'll have no idea why, because you don't know that you wrote an exponential complexity algorithm instead of like something that can be linear. And if you know data structure and algorithms good, then you won't write code like that. And I guess it kind of also familiarizes you with like what the certain data structures are, like trees and maps and stuff like that, so that you can avoid writing them from scratch. You can know, like when you're reading that Java documentation or something, if it says this implements this thing using a tree and a graph search thing, and you're like, oh yeah, I've done that before, I know what that is. So you learn C. Now, in terms of jobs, if you're like looking to get into the labor force, the types of jobs that will require you to be a C programmer are totally different from the jobs that require you to know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and full stack. So, by learning C, you're learning a lot about the fundamentals, which is useful. It's useful to know everything. But there's not necessarily a lot of overlap. And if you get hired to write any kind of, like I would say even most full stack positions, are probably not going to get you writing a lot of C. Learn C for basics. fundamentals. Yeah, I think it's like it's not bad, but again, it's almost like it's kind of like literally everything is a waste of time. And the question, you have to like waste your time in the most strategic and smart way possible. I think for like if you really want to develop a really deep intrinsic understanding, knowing C is going to help you a lot. I think knowing C is also pretty good to like a lot of like if you want to know how do you do like any kind of operation, knowing C or C++ and having the ability to like understand how to call into the kernel interface. So for example, calling signals, like listening for signals, doing socket communication, thing like opening a file, closing a file, knowing about like flags and signals and all that kind of stuff. That knowledge generalizes to every application, because ultimately it doesn't matter if you're writing Python or Java, or even you're doing something in a web browser or something. If there's some like interrupts or something those happen fundamentally in the kernel, and the kernel's interfaces are all in C. And even like Python and stuff, if you do like socket communication in Python, if in a lot of cases, if you want to just really know how to do it better, if you're, it doesn't matter if you're writing Python, usually you just look up the C documentation for the kernel API, and you don't even need to. When I had done a bit of it, there was very little documentation. Yeah, in the like the functions existed basically as like a thin wrapper in Python that just call out to the C library or to the kernel interface. So that's that. I guess that's a very long-winded answer to your question, but yeah, I would say that there's nothing wrong with that approach, but it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Maybe much on our data structures and algorithms. Using JavaScript if you plan on going into web dev. Yeah, I would say you can strategically, like you didn't say what JavaScript for full. So your goal is to be a full stack developer. So if that's the case, I would say like goal is to be a full stack developer. Yeah. So if I would say, let's say you apply for a full stack developer position tomorrow, you're going to get questions that are like, okay, write, design a system that's if you're gonna write some JavaScript, and it's gonna do a bunch of AJAX calls, and like it's gonna talk to an API, and the API returns like a set of the API can return edges and nodes for a graph, and then you have to construct this thing in the client and draw the graph, and it's this and that, and so you could approach it from that perspective. Just there's like all kinds of like question banks and stuff. Yeah, grinding elite code with JavaScript. Yeah, I have never. Lead code is before my time, or sorry, lead code came like after. I had. So I'm unfamiliar with it, but you said you can do grinding lead code with JavaScript. So can you like go on lead code and say, give me specifically full stack developer JavaScript questions? Because if you can, then that's probably a good thing. And then the most efficient way to learn would probably, like, even if you don't know, even if you don't know the fundamentals of data structures and algorithms, just jump right into it, and then use specific problems as a case study, which will be if you're really inexperienced, that'll be really difficult at first. But the finish line is like there's only so many new things. Like there's only so many graph algorithms. There's only so many hash table problems. There's only so many ways to resolve hash collisions, and eventually the patterns start to emerge, and you see the same thing over and over again. Now is it going to crash? Yep, it's going to crash. Actually, it might be this. There's some full stack, mostly data structures, not gross. Yeah, from my understanding, most of those sites seem to be like very, like they're, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they seem more in the line of like people who want to do like competitive problem solving, like people who go to like hackathons or something. They're almost like, those people that study for math competitions and stuff, and that the problems are almost like too abstract. But I think it's best if like if some of the problems are close to like interview questions. Just realized Hex Matrix is that 3D Linux person Robert mentioned months ago. Yes. Yeah, I haven't checked up on that project in a while, but it was certainly quite interesting. LeetCode is very useful for FANG interviews. Yeah, I hear a lot of people mention it, so I assume it must be working for them. Nice, no crashes. Hate competition as well. Too much pressure. Yeah, I think it's, I can kind of see how people could get into that, but it comes back to my earlier argument about, like, you can learn this and that, and there's an infinite number of math textbooks you can get lost in, and all kinds of theoretical stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to make money, put food on the table. So you gotta prioritize what's gonna get you the job or get you to the next step. So much code to do so little. Are you writing tests for the game? Yeah, I do have some unit tests. I guess I can run those. MVN test. They're mostly for some like really hardcore data structures and stuff. Like I have a bunch of stuff to like calculate intersections between regions. And this year thing, this is testing the screen layer merging. I just kind of that was a thing that's fraught with lots and lots of bugs and edge cases. So anything that's pretty much anything where if the output is wrong, like if I can verify that it's broken easily, then I haven't really written much for testing on that. It's a lot of work to write good tests. This year test was quite an enormous amount of work, but I think the results is quite good because it's I don't really know of many terminal based applications that do like very good handling of multi-column characters. When we have tested game UIs, just to have the UI do some transformation and then just ask yes or no question. The command, did this thing that was supposed to happen? Yeah, I think I do kind of that can be a good way, a good like cheap way to test behavior, basically like effectively like as an abstract testing method. I use this in a lot of ways, not just for UIs, but basically if you have some complex output that you have to review, what you can do is just like if you know that the output should not change, it could be like HTML, like an HTML page. Just take the entire HTML and instead of like clicking on it or doing anything, if you know your invariant is it's not supposed to change from whatever you've done, just hash it, and then the unit test is like, does it produce this hash value? And in general, for like as a debugging or refactoring technique, often I can alternate kind of between like the hashing technique. So like when I've refactored my blog a few times, I have all these like old articles. I don't want to change the old articles, but I've refactored how the blogging system worked. So I would make a change, and then I would just like basically just do a diff on the entire output. And if I make a change to the underlying system, and then the output does not change, then I know that I have not introduced new bugs, at least in the existing output. And then when I do changes, like maybe I change how the white space is output or something, then I'll just make those very, very simple incremental snapshot stuff. And then when the like hash checksum doesn't pass, then I know, okay, all I have to do is just like, I can just manually verify the differences in the output and say like, okay, this is consistent with what the change that I'll allow. And then after that I can basically pin it to the hash values or the exact byte for byte output again. Okay, so this is almost doing what we want. My Unicode characters are sometimes overwrite the bracket. Are you sure you actually added the closing pattern? It was there. I guess I don't know if it renders properly in the screen, but I could see it's being overwritten. I added a couple spaces. I'm also just kind of not sure what is the best look. I guess maybe it should be like 3x this, and then the class name is in the brackets. It's more than like 5 unique items. You may want each item on a new line with the items indented. Yeah, there's I guess the way I'll probably do it is I'll just have like this is all like one line, but the line will just wrap around. So I have to think about like how does it's a super advanced text justification algorithm. So I think it'll even split the words if necessary. Yeah, so lots of ifs and whatnots. Mostly like this is a way zoomed in, but a lot of the edge cases are mainly just to give like if it's too small to give something reasonable where it doesn't crash. But it's going along. I also have to figure out how to make it obvious that it's highlighted. So there's only one list item there now. But in the future, this will be an arbitrarily long list. Should also make the background consistent. All right, that's consistent now. Although, I don't know. That's actually that's kind of hard to read. All right, one last thing. Let's test if the pink theme still works. Joanne Marville says hi again. How's it going? Can you just put each recipe in its own nested frame? Whoa, ugh, it's hard in the eyes. Well, the pink theme still works. It's hard to even see what you're doing. It's good to test things to make sure they're not broken. I guess I could do something like that, but yep. This is the kawaii theme. I guess maybe if I eventually add like a theme editor, I could call it that. Yep, this verifies that it works seamlessly with the list. All right, let's get that off of there. It's hard in the eyes. The list is fully like generic, so I'm not sure if you saw a lot of the list development before, but I've been working on just like a general feature, so it can like I say, I could illustrate right now via. Crafting interface. Oh, that's not it. Here we go. I guess what I can do is just let's put the theme back. Or if people would pay you to review their code on stream. Yeah, maybe I guess if I can get more momentum on the if the store takes off and becomes more streamlined, maybe what I could do is like I could pressure people into buying. You have to buy a block type. You have to make a purchase through the store of a block type, and then to get interview advice or resume advice, or I'm not even sure I'm qualified anymore to review resumes, but yeah, that is a good idea. Yeah. I just could have like a menu list. This, it seems like lots of people want to. I guess earlier on, when I first started streaming every day, a lot of people would ask for like takes on things, so I could offer my take on this or that. I guess I'd have to, well, that one's not too difficult. It'd be best if I had a, like an interface, or it could be like it could be, so as you purchase, right now there's no, I have to go check my email to know if I got a purchase, but it'd be nice if I had integration with that, so I could get like a push notification from Shopify and then have that feedback right on stream, like so-and-so bought this thing on Shopify. I'm sure I can do that, but it's more screwing around. I mean, it took me like, I have a degree in software engineering, and it took me like a couple of days of screwing around with Shopify just to figure out how to capture a simple like text field. So I'm sure I can spend another week or something getting some API call to work with Shopify. But unless it works really well, then, or unless it generates lots of revenue, then it's not worth it. I guess this is not not a lot of feedback on this, but because all of these list items look the same, but I'm actually scrolling through a list right now. So you mentioned about I could do like other multiple frames and stuff, but I guess I should probably change the color on this because it makes it look like it's part of that. Sounds like Shopify is getting in the way of you making money. I mean, it's questionable. Like if I had to write my own, like in this day and age, I would not want to write my own like store from scratch. Like there's no reason to do that. The amount of time it would take to write, like with the advanced like shopping cart and stuff, because those are nice features. The main reason I would not want to host one of those is like the security aspect. I know that the process of maintaining a secure transactions on a site like that would be centralized. So I'm sure Shopify has their own team that they can dedicate to like 0 days and stuff, which in this day and age, I wouldn't really want to run just a regular like public facing server. Too much work. So it's one of those cases where if they already offer something that's exactly what you want, then it's easy. You can be up and running in minutes. And the other thing was if Shopify, if I could get that stupid Merchant Center thing validated again, then I can have the links on YouTube that link to the Shopify page, which will direct some traffic there. But we'll see. The verdict is still out, I think, on whether it's worth it. Invert the bar in the background. Yeah, there's a few. I have to think a bit about tweaking the colors and stuff. Although color changes are one of the easiest things to figure out once all the functionality's there. Just tweaking the colors is easy. It's a full-on e-commerce platform, really necessary. For the integration with YouTube, I don't think you can do that with a custom thing. They say you have to go through like Shopify or a few other things. What about running PMTS through YouTube? Give it a spreadsheet till you get enough volume. That's my approach is basically just like do everything. At first, do things like the kind of slow manual way, and then if the sales keep coming, then just keep doubling down on making it efficient. PMTS. I'm not sure what that is. PMTS through YouTube. payments through YouTube. Oh, like super chats. Well, I guess the question is, if I'm selling like the digital items. Actually, that's another thing, is I'm not 100% sure if that is a violation of like terms of service. I looked into this. If it's like, I don't think you're supposed to. I think it may be a violation of the terms of service or something to say like, hey, if you give me a super chat for X, I will send you this product. It's not super clear. And if it is, even if it's a gray area, I don't really want to build. I want to build business practices that can scale to like thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands or something. If it's kind of a gray area thing, then I can get away with it in a small scale. But I don't care about small scale. I want things that can keep growing and actually be sustainable and not get banned by Google. But the Shopify thing might work. Make stickers that say X is my favorite Linux command. Yeah, I could. There's I actually even have other products that I need to add to the store, but I've been telling myself I'll do a little bit of work in the store every day, or like every day I have time. But everything takes time to expand. All right, it's after midnight, so I'll leave it there for tonight. That's a little bit closer. I guess I fixed some edge cases and got this rendering a bit better. Next stream, I'll figure out how to make this. I guess it's an off by one line there. I'll make this look a bit better. And then, oh yeah, I'll add in the other recipes. Maybe I should even like title these or something. Because when you want to look at this, you're like, okay, I need to produce X. Yeah, produces should probably be first. Sleep command is my favorite Linux command. All right, have a good night, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow.